I'm Dorothy Godin, broker 3 Max Crown Realty, and welcome to Thursday Thoughts. Well, as you can tell, I'm still suffering from the ramifications of me cutting my own bangs during the Christmas holidays, but that's okay. It will grow back. So today I wanted to talk about picking a closing date and how I notice when people are doing offers, buyers kind of just don't give a lot of thought and they really quickly pick a closing date. And I always stop and say, okay, well, let's just think about what is important about a closing date. You have to give enough time so that all the details and things that have to be done have the opportunity and time to be done. So, for instance, if you are a buyer and your offer is conditional on a home inspection, getting insurance, and doing, your financing, these things take time. And we used to have, 5 banking days. You can get all those things done. But what I found in the last 6 months is that bankers are requiring more time. Home inspectors, there's not that many of them anymore. Some have left the business. And so these things take time. So now I'm seeing more like 7 banking days for conditions to be met. And then once your conditions are met, your lawyer needs time to do all their searches. So we cannot be putting in closing dates that are, 2 weeks and 3 weeks. That just makes it really, really difficult. And lawyers won't be happy. And sometimes mortgage people just can't get all their documentation done in that time. So picking a closing date, you want to keep in mind what all has to be done before you firm up and before you actually close your property. I would caution everyone to not pick a Friday of the first of the month or the last of the month or any Friday. To me, Friday is problematic because if you're closing on Friday and the bank is delayed in getting their documentations to the lawyer, or you do your walkthrough Friday morning and there's an issue that has to be resolved, there is just not enough time to resolve problems and still close on Friday. You can imagine Fridays, and particularly at the beginning of the month and at the end of the month, and it's Friday, lawyers and their staff are, they want to hit the road and get to camp, and sometimes they close early. So definitely stay away from Friday closings or the beginning or the end of the month. Also, you want to make sure if you're buying and selling in the same transaction, that's the most difficult because most people would like to close, sell their house and buy their new house on the same day. And that can be problematic because you need your financing to get to the right places. So sometimes we suggest that, maybe do 1 or 2 days of a bridge financing so that you can purchase your new house with a bridge financing of a couple of days and then have a couple of days to sell your house. So you want to coordinate those closing dates. That's the trickiest part when you have to buy and sell on the same day. You do want to make sure that you pick a closing date that fits with your personal family events that are happening, for sure. If you have a wedding or some kind of big social event happening, you don't want your closing to be close to that particular date, for sure. Yeah, it's just very important that you take some time to think it out. Sometimes as a buyer, if you want your offer to be, really attractive to the seller, we will approach the seller and say, what closing date do you really want? And if it fits with the buyer, then the buyer may accommodate that. If not, the buyer will just put in what they need. Be very, very careful to not do long closings. I like 30 to 60 days. I don't really like more than 60 days because too many things can happen. You have a 90 or 100-day closing and the buyer decides that he wants to go out and buy a new truck, and that will affect his financing. So, I would keep your closing date by the time you get a firm offer to when you close, 30 to 60 days. I hope you find this helpful. As always, you can reach me at Dorothy Godin at remax.net or 705-561-2360. Got to go get that phone.